This is the ACT practice test number 2. And we are going to be going through it. What I want you to remember is that on the ACT you get to use a calculator the whole time. You can buy a calculator, a $1.25 calculator at the Dollar Tree store. Also, Miss Martin might have some for you to borrow. Always make sure you take the test with a calculator because you don't want to get something wrong for a silly addition, subtraction, division mistake. So you want to have, and I don't happen to have a Dollar Tree one, but this is just a simple calculator. All I'm using it is for the simple functions. What I want you to remember on the ACT test is that there is 60 problems. You need about 18 to 20 correct. What I want you to make sure you do is you put, if you don't know an answer, if you have no idea how to calculate it, you want to mark A, D, A, D, A, D, or E. You could do E here too. And what you want to make sure of is that you make this pattern if you don't know how to do a question. But we need like 8 to 10 questions correct and then do this pattern for those that you don't know, and we should be able to get the passing score for you. Okay, so make sure you always do that. Okay, so we're going to get started on the first one. What I'll do is I'll work you through the problem, and I will give you the worksheet that it applies to that I have a tutorial for. Okay, so the number one question, I'm just going to repeat, I'm just going to write this down. 4 minus A minus 5A plus 7. And this is just putting like terms together. So what I want to do, when you see a letter or a number combined close to in a parentheses, you want to distribute that number. Okay, so A times 4, you just smash them together and you get 4A. And then A times negative A, remember a positive and a negative, always assume it's a positive outside of it. And you can also put a 1 in front of any letter if you want to help that, keep that clean. So plus 1 times negative 1 is a negative A squared. Okay, so you just count how many A's there are and put them as a power. Okay, and then you go to negative 5A because you're just smashing them together, and then negative 5 times plus 7. If you don't know that answer, do it on your calculator, but that is negative 35. Okay, now we're just going to put like terms together. So we're going to put this together, right? That's a plus 4A and minus 5A, so you get minus A. And then what I do is I put it in different forms, so it's that is different because it's A to the second. Remember, that's like, this is like apples, this is an orange, and this is a kiwi, okay? So we got to do negative A to the second minus A, and then minus 35 is separate than that. And I'm just going to do that as a triangle. So that should be your answer, and that would be C. So your correct answer for number 1 would be C. Okay. If you want more of those, go do the like terms worksheet. Okay, the next one. Which of the following inequalities orders the numbers from least to greatest? Okay, so when I see decimals and I see fractions, I need to put it all into one. When I see decimals, I'm going to scooch this up and put this as number 2. When I see decimals, I think of money. Okay, so 0.2 is how much? 20 cents, right? I'm just going to put 20 cents. So I always think of decimals as money. So what you want to do, and then 0.03 is only 3 cents, right? And then a quarter, you know a quarter, what is a quarter? A quarter is 25 cents, right? So they want it from least to greatest. So what should it be? Remember, okay, so they have less than and greater than. What you want to remember with this sign is the alligator always eats the bigger one because he's not a pig, he's an alligator, but the alligator's mouth always wants to eat. Okay, so that's always going to be the greater one. So it'd be 3 cents and then 20 cents and then 25 cents. So that answer would be G. Okay, that answer would be G for number 2. Okay, so the next one. Okay, so this is just an equation problem. X to the second plus 4 equals 29. Then what is then x to the second minus 4 equals what? Okay, so what we're going to do is just solve for x to the second, because what we're trying to find out here is what this is. So x to the second. So what do we have to do? This is an equation problem. You can go to the equation worksheet and do that. So what do we got to do? We got to get that letter by itself. So we're going to go negative 4 minus 4, and it's going to be x to the second equals 25, right? Okay, so then right over here, we got to plug in x to the second, so it's going to be 25 minus 4 equals what? 25 minus 4 is 21. All right, and that equals C. Good, that's how you do that. All right, so then we're going to go to number 4 up top, and I'm going to get a clean piece of paper again. Number 4, the vertices of a rectangle are negative 1 and negative 2. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to go negative 1. Remember, this is x and y, so you always run, then climb. Okay, so it's going to be negative 1 and then negative 2. So we're going to go down. So this is negative 1, negative 2. Then we got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and negative 2 is over here. So this is 4 and negative 2. Then we got 4 and 3. So 4, and then we're going to climb 3. So this is 4, comma 3. And then we got negative 1 and 3. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw this box. Okay, so now it says, what percent of the total area of the rectangle lies in quadrant 3? Okay, so we know this is quadrant 3. That's a pretty small amount, isn't it? Because we only got 4 points here. So this is 4. This is 1, 2. This is 6. This is 12, and this is 8, right? So the total is 6, or 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 10 is 30, right? So that's the total amount, and we're talking 4, divide by 4. So that's about 7, right? So when we're talking percentages, again, think of money out of 100. 100 divided by 7 is what? 100 divided by 7 equals 14. So 14, that doesn't really make sense. Okay, so we're going to say it's a small amount though. This is a small amount. We're going to say about 8%. So we're going to go, I'm going to say 8% because 12 doesn't make sense because that's not, I wouldn't say that at all. So I'm going to say 8% on that one. Okay. Now number 5. That's just a guesstimate. Remember, these are easy questions, so we're not going to go hard on this. It's going to go, common sense is going to rule the roost here. Okay, so in 1995, the cost of clothing for a certain family was $620. In 1995, 10 years later, the cost of clothing for this family was $1,000. Assuming the cost increased linearly, okay, what was the cost of the family's clothing in 1991? Linearly means average or equal. So what we got to do is 1985, right? That's 10 years to 1995. Okay. We started at 620 and we ended up at 1,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calculator here. Okay. And I'm going to go 1,000 minus 620. Oh, I didn't do that right. Let's do that again. 1,000 minus 620. And I got 380. Then 380 divided by 10 years. Okay, so it's going to increase $38 per year. Does that make sense? That's an average question. If you want to do an average worksheet, ask Miss Martin for the average worksheet, and there's a tutorial on it as well per year. Okay, so now they want to know in 1991, so 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. So it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So what they want to know, we're going to times this by 6. So 38 times 6 is 228. So we got to do 228 plus the original 620 to get a total of 848. So we're thinking that the amount is 848 up, and there it is, B. That's going to be answer B. Okay, answer B. Now, 6, okay, this 6, okay, number 6 is the square root of a certain number is approximately 9.2. Okay, so a square root of a certain number is 9.2. Okay, this is the square root worksheet you can get from Miss Martin. But remember, what we want to do is times this twice, or times it by each other, 9.2. 9 times 9 is 81, right? So this is going to be roughly, probably a little greater than 81, maybe an 83. But if you want to get precise, what you can do is you can do the 9.2 times 9.2 on your calculator, and you get 84.64. 84.64. And that's the answer we're looking for. Up and look. Okay, so it has 81 to 99. It's going to be K, right? So the answer for the number 6 is K. All right. Number 7, I can see that right now. A bag contains 10 pieces of flavored candy. Okay, this is the probability worksheet. If you want to do more probability questions, ask Miss Martin for the probability worksheet, and this will give you more of these. Okay, so I'm a complete visual person. So when I say a bag contains 10 pieces of flavored candy, okay, so the denominator is going to be 10. We got, I'm just going to put L for 4, S for strawberry, and that's going to be 3. Grape is 2, and cherry is 1. So those added together, 4 plus 3 is 7, 9, 10. So a total of 10. It says one piece of candy will be randomly picked from the bag. What is the probability the candy picked is not grape? Okay, so what is 4 plus 3 plus 1? That would be 8. 8 out of 10. Okay, but you don't see 10 there, do you? But you see that 8 divided by 10 is, those are two even numbers, so I'm just going to go divide by 2, divide by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is what? If you don't know that, all you have to do is 8 divided by 2 is 4. And again, if you're unsure, you can just plug it into the calculator, make sure you get the right answers, and you get 5. So the answer should be 4/5, and that would be answer E. Okay, that's answer E. So now we're through 7 problems. We're going to keep going. We're going to go through 20. I'm only going to focus on the first 20 questions because I have worksheets and tutorials for those first easy questions. I don't want to go any harder. You can try to do other ones if you want as you go through, like if you want to focus on matrices ones, or if you want to focus on SOHCAHTOA questions, you can pick out SOHCAHTOA ones. You can do geometry questions further on. But once you hit 20, I don't want to focus on anymore because that's just going to spread out your knowledge base. I want to focus on those easy questions like SOHCAHTOA, geometry, probability. We've hit one of those questions. We've done a like terms for number 1. We did a square root question. That's a worksheet. We did an average. That's a worksheet. We did a square root. That's a worksheet. We did a probability. That's a worksheet. Probability, there's usually 2 questions on every test regarding probability. There's usually 1 to 2 on geometry. That's what we're going to focus on, because if you can get 8 to 10 right on your own and then do that AD pattern that I talked about, the D, or E you could do. If you do that pattern, we should get that 18 needed for that 18 raw score for that 16 scale score. So that's what we're going to be working towards. Okay, so we're in number 8 right now. When points A and B is -3/4 are graphed in the standard XY coordinate plane below, the midpoint of AB will be 1, 2. What will the coordinates of A be? Okay, so blah de blah, we're doing midpoint. I do have a worksheet on midpoint. I'm not sure if I have a tutorial yet. If not, I'll put it on my list of things to do. But this is a midpoint question. So what I do is B. They're telling me B is -3 and +4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is -3 and 4. Okay. And they're telling me the midpoint, and that's B. Okay. And they're telling me the midpoint is 1, 2. So we're going to go 1 and 2. Okay. So the slope of this one, we got negative, and this is 1, 2. And that's the midpoint. So then A has to be around here somewhere. So what is the slope of this? We got -3 to +1. What is the difference between -3 and +1? That would be over 4, right? And you got to do rise over run. So we're going to run, that's 4. And then we're going to go down 2, right? We're going to go -4 and then 2. So we're going to go down 2 for that one. Okay. So now we got to go down 2 more. So that's going to be 0, right? So if we go 2 and we go down 2, so we went from 4 down to 2. We got to go down 2 more. So that's going to be negative, or that's just going to be 0 for that. And then we go from -3 to +1. That's difference is 4. So we got to go over 4. So what do you do? 1 plus 4 is 5. So I just do it visually. You can also do it by just calculating that, but I do it visually so I can see it. And I get 5, 0. That answer would be K. Okay, that's how you do that. And that's a midpoint question. I do have a worksheet on that. Andrea manages a company that currently has 116 customers, which is 8 more than twice the number of customers the company had 1 year ago. Okay, this is a lot of words. I'll break it down, but again, if it's too many words for you, just skip it and choose your AD pattern, which would still be A in this case. So Andrea, okay, manages that currently has 116 customers, which is 8 more than twice the number of customers. 8 more than twice the number of customers they had 1 year ago. So I'm just going to go N to N, and it's 116, okay, which is 8 more plus 8. So it's 2N plus 8 equals 116. How many customers did the company have 1 year ago? This is an equation. How to write equations, I do have a worksheet on how to write equations. Again, this could be complicated. I really don't want to focus on this right now unless we need more points. So I want you to focus on geometry, SOHCAHTOA, square roots, probability, equations. Focus on those first, but if we need more points, we can pull this one down. This is writing equations. This worksheet would be writing equations. So on this case, it says Andrea manages a company that currently has 116 customers, which is 8 more than twice the number of customers the company had 1 year ago. So I just put N for the number, and I just put 2, and then I added 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, my job is to get N by itself. So I'm going to go -8. So it's going to be 108 equals 2N, 2. Let's get our calculator out. Make sure you don't make silly errors on that. So we're going to clear that, and we're going to just do 108 divided by 2, and you're going to get 54. So 1 year ago, you had 54. And that answer would be B. Okay, so number 9 would be B. Again, that is writing equations. Let's do the next one. This almost looks like a writing equations again. Okay, and then what I want to do, remember, how many customers did the company have 1 year ago? So after you've done all your calculations, you want to make sure that you're reading the question to make sure that question is actually what you just answered. And that's what happens a lot of the times. You don't answer the right question, and that's where you go wrong. So once we got our answer, we got to reread the question and make sure we're doing it right. Okay, so number 10. Joseph will have a 200-foot long fence installed around the yard. Okay, so this is 200. 200 and perimeter. Remember, I have a perimeter worksheet. Perimeter is 2 lengths plus 2 widths. Okay, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 each side, right? Add all those up, and that will be the perimeter. What I like to remember is a fence is a perimeter around the yard, and area is what you lawn mow in the middle. So that's area is in the middle of what the whole thing is about, and the perimeter is the fence. You always have a fence around the perimeter, and in this case, it's a 200-foot long fence installed around his yard. The A Plus company charges 500 feet plus a set amount per foot of fence. Okay, so we got $500 flat fee plus the 200 by however much it costs. So I'm going to put an F for fixed costs or fence per foot. Okay. The A Plus has given Joseph an estimate of $2,200. Okay, so $2,200. Now we're going to figure out how much per foot it costs, right? What is a set amount per foot of fence? Again, this is writing equations. This is real life stuff that you'd have to figure out. So number 9 and number 10 were writing equations out. So now we got 500 flat fee plus 200. We know that it's 200 feet of fence, but we don't know what the fixed rate of fence per foot is. But we know he spent $2,200. So what is our job? Our job is to get that F all by itself. So we're going to go minus 500, minus 500. Let's get our calculator again, and we don't want to make silly mistakes. 2,200 minus the 500 is 1,700. Okay, so 1,700, 200, F. Now what are we going to do? We're going to divide by 200, divide by 200. We're going to divide by, that's 1,700 divided by 200, and we get $8.50 per foot, right, of fence. Per foot of fence. And so that'd be $8.50. That would be H. So 10 would be H. Okay, that's that answer. Let me get some more scratch paper. Okay. All right, 11. For a math homework, as you can see, these are harder concepts to learn. As we're getting farther in, it's getting harder. So what we're going to do, again, if it's too much words, if you get confused, choose your AD pattern, okay? So for a math homework assignment, Carla found the area and perimeter of a room of her house. Okay, so now we're working with perimeter again. Remember, I have a perimeter worksheet you can do. Perimeter is around. It's the fence around it. So for a math homework assignment, Kate found the area and perimeter of a room of her house. She reported that the area of her rectangular living room is 180 square feet and the perimeter is 54. So I'm going to go area equals 180, which I know that is length times width, just like the area worksheet. And perimeter is 54, which is 2L plus 2W. Okay, so When drawing a sketch of the living room the next day, she realized that she had forgotten to write down the dimensions of the room. What are the dimensions of Carla's living room in feet? Okay, so I need to plug these in for length and width. So 9 times 8, okay, 9 times 20 is, I'm just going to go from, what I do is I start in the middle. So I know that I can go I start in the middle because if I need to go up, I'll go up. If I need to go bigger, I can go bigger. Okay, so I can go lower or bigger. So I start in the middle. So I go 12 times 15. Let's just do the math. That's probably going to equal 180. 12 times 15 is 180. Okay, but if we do 2 times 12 plus 2 times 15, will that equal the 54 is the question. So do that on a calculator. 2 times 12 is 24 plus 2 times 15. Let's do it on a calculator. I know that's 30, but we're going to do it on a calculator. Make sure we don't make any mistakes. Then 30 plus 24. Oh, look at that. So 30 plus 24 equals 54. So ironically, we don't have to go up or down. We go right in the middle. So the answer is C for number 11, because that's where I started. I started at there, so I knew if I had to go up or down, and it was the dead answer. So that's the answer for that one. Okay. Now that we're on to 12, okay? So we've got, okay, so it looks like 12 to 14 is, we're going to be looking at this table. You're going to have one of these questions probably early on in every test, and usually one answer is easy. The other two might be a little more complicated for you, but I'll be going through all three just in case you want to look at them. Okay, so I'm not going to read this. I'm going to go straight to the questions, and then if I need to read this up here, I'll understand it, but it's just basically describing what is in the table. So that's what we're going to just read through number 12 right now. Jeremy has $10 in quarters to spend on candy. What is the maximum number of quarters he would have left after paying for a box of 25 candies at Tamika's treat shop? Okay, so candies per box is the N. Price of Carrie's chocolate shop, we don't care. We're going to Tamika's treat shop. Okay, Jeremy has $10 in quarters. How many is $10 in quarters? How many quarters make up $1? That would be 4, right? 4 quarters make up $1, and we got to do it times 10. So we're going to do 4 times 10 equals, if you don't want to do that, you can do 4 times 10 equals 40, right? So we got 40 quarters to work with. Okay, so it says, what is the maximum number of quarters he would have left after paying for a box of 25 candies? So I'm going to go 25 candies at Tamika's is $4.25. Okay, so $4.25. So we know that 4 quarters times $4 is 16, right? Plus 1 more. So $4.25 is 17 quarters. Okay, but it says here, don't get tricked on this. It says, what is the maximum number of quarters he would have left after paying for a box of 25 candies, which I looked up, and Tamika's was $4.25. Note each quarter is worth 25 cents, which we already knew that, right? So 17, so we got to go 40. 40 minus the 17, 40, because we spent 17 of those quarters, minus 17 is 23 quarters left. So we would have 23 quarters left, and look at that, that's number J. Okay, so 12 is number J. That was pretty easy. Okay, so now let's do the next one. 13, at Tamika's treat shop, what is the average price per candy in the box of 20 to the nearest 1 cent? Okay, so we're going to Tamika's again. We're going to look up 20 at Tamika's, which is $3.75. $3.75 for 20. And all we're going to do is, we just looked up the price and divided that by 20, right? Because it says, at Tamika's treat shop, what is the average price per candy in the box of 20? Easy enough. So all we're going to do is our 3.75 divided by 20. And we get 0.1875. Okay, so think of money again. This is 18 cents, and they wanted round it up. So this is higher than 5. So we're going to round this one up and make that bigger. So we look at that, it's bigger than 5, so we got to go 19 cents per candy at Tamika's shop if we buy 20. So we're going to go 19 cents. See, and the nice thing was, even if we picked 18, it was closest to 19. So that answer would have been B for number 13. Okay, so that was easy enough. Now, next one. Let's just turn this around. And if you need more scrap paper, just ask Miss Martin. It's also on the rack in the back of the room. If you need more scratch paper. I don't want you writing on the test booklets because it's very expensive to copy all the test booklets off. So please use scratch paper. Miss Martin has plenty of scratch paper for you to use. Just like I'm using now, I'm basically putting like 2 questions on each piece of paper. Okay, so number 14, let's do number 14. Which of the following equations gives the relationship between the price in dollars, C, and the number of candies, N? Okay, so C is candies, number of candies. I'm just writing this out just to help me. And relationship between price in dollars, C, and the number of candies, N, in a box of, okay, so C actually, N is the number of candies, my bad, and C is the cost of those candies. Okay. In a box of candies that carries. Okay, so now, which of the following equations gives the relationship between the price in dollars, C, and the number of candies, N, in a box of candies at Carrie's chocolate shop? So now we're going to Carrie's. Okay, so we got to go 5 divided by 1. Okay, so what we have to figure out is how many candies, how much was each candy. So I'm just going to go 1.50. I'm going to start at the top. 1.5. Well, actually, I'm going to ixnay that. I'm going to go in the middle because in the middle, it helps you do the, it negates some of the questions. So let's try this. Let's go 15 divided by 350. Okay, so 350 divided by 15. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's use these calculations. So it's N minus 350. That can't be it. Okay, so if you look at your options, what I'm going to do is it's called plug and chug, okay? And I actually have a worksheet on this. I don't know if I have a tutorial on it, but this is the plug and chug worksheet. So basically what I'm going to do is put the number of candies and then I'm going to get the price out. So I'm going to see if this works. What I do with these plugs and chugs, I start in the middle, just like I did on the previous question, on the previous page. I'm going to do a plug and chug. So I'm going to say 15 candies, N. So it's 0.5 N. Number of candies is 15. And the cost is going to be $3.50 because it's at Carrie's workshop. Okay. And then 350 and plus 1.5. Okay. So again, I'm going in the middle. Actually, on plug and chug questions, I always go with F or A, whichever the first one is, because usually plug and chug, you start at the top and you work your way down. Because I can't really go from least to greatest on these because they're all different. So on plug and chug questions, I usually answer A or F and keep going, but let's just work it out and see if it works. So we're going to use the calculation of C equals N to the second, and we're going to go N, and we're going to put in 15 plus 0.5. Okay, so I'm going to do the calculation here and see if it works. And again, I'm going to go right in the middle and try it, see if it works. 0.2 times 15 is 3. 3 plus 0.5 works. Okay, so now let's do it down here, 30. Let's plug it in at the biggest one and see if it works again. And we're doing the same calculation for F. So it's 0.2 times 30 plus 0.5. All right, so let's do the calculation again. 0.2 times 30 plus 5. 6.5. Okay, so now this is a plug and chug question. Remember what I said. If it's a plug and chug question, I usually just answer F. I start with F and it's usually the answer because remember you have supposedly less than 1 minute per question. So I always choose F in this case, and I happen to be right because it is a plug and chug question. If you can identify a plug and chug question, so basically a plug and chug question means that they're going to give you formulas. And basically by doing the first formula, it's usually the right one, probably 3 out of 4 times, especially if it's in the first 20 questions. If it's a plug and chug question and it's a formula for an option, pick the first one, F or A, and you're usually going to be right, if that makes sense, okay? So let's go to 15. Okay, and we're only going to go through 20. Remember, I'm only going to go through 20 because once we start getting into the harder ones, and at this point, if you're getting totally confused and you don't understand any of the ones that I'm doing, I would just stop here. I would focus on the first 10 first, okay? Get those SOHCAHTOAs down, get the matrices down, and I'll go through and look for matrices. I'll look for, and I see a geometry question, number 16. So I'm going to focus on square root questions, which we've already seen. I'm going to focus on perimeter and area questions, which we've already seen. I'm going to focus on probability questions, which we've already seen. I'm going to focus on the geometry questions. I'm going to focus on simple equations. Those are the questions that and I see an f of x question. So that's what we're going to focus on, okay? So let's do the next one. Which of the following is the solution of the equation? Easy peasy, x to the second minus 36x equals 0. Okay, so what we want to do is we got to solve for x. Which of the following is the solution to the equation x to the second minus 36x equals 0? Okay, so what we want to do is put these in. Interesting. So, okay, so if we're not going to do the 72, logically, if I'm looking at this, I'm going to look at the 6 and the negative 6 for this answer. So, if I put in 6, I'm going to get 36 minus 36 times 6. That doesn't work, does it? Okay. Then I'm going to do minus 36. That doesn't make... You can't do 6 or minus 36 because that's going to give you the same answer. 6, negative 6, that'd be 36 minus 6. That isn't going to give you the same answer. So let's try 18. 18 squared. Let's try 18 squared. Oopsie. 18 times 18. Oh, I'm so silly. I'm so silly. Here, I got the answer. So we're trying to do x squared minus 36x, right? So we got to have we got to find the 36. So we're going to do minus 36 times 36. And then x squared is just 36 squared. So it's got to be the answer of 36 because it's equal to that 36. So in this case, boy, I was overthinking that one. So that one, in this case, it should be B for number 15. I'm silly. You may not get that one. That caught me off guard, and it took me a minute to do it. So Ms. Martin gets stuck too on these. So that is on this one, because we had to find something that was equivalent to 36, so we had to times 36 times 36, and 36 squared is 36 times 36. So it had to have been that 36. Okay, so number 16, I'll flip this around. Number 16, I see a geometry question. We know geometry questions are always based on 180. So let's try this. Okay, so we got a triangle here. We know anything in the line is 180, right? 180, and then this simple triangle all together is going to be 180 in here as well. So it's saying this is 148, this is 140. Okay, so based on 180, this little one is going to be 40. Now I'm going to do a calculation here. I'm just going to do the 180 minus the 148 equals 32 in here. Now, because these all have to add up, we're going to add the 40 plus the 32 plus 40. And then what do we have to subtract it from? Plus, and that's E, equals 180, right? So we got to put the 72 together minus the 180, right? Minus 72 to get rid of it. And then so minus 180, you get 108. That answer should be 108. And there it is. It's J. Okay? That answer is J. 16 is J. All right. So the next one, a company ships notepads in rectangular boxes. Okay. I'm just going to flip this around here for my scratch paper. A company ships notepads. Again, these are lots of word questions. If this is too confusing for you, I would just go ahead and stop and choose your 17. I just choose D, but I can work it out if you guys want me to. I'll work it out. 17. A company ships notepads, but if you don't understand what I'm talking about, just skip ahead. I don't want you to get confused. All you need to do is get 10 of these right. I want you to focus on 10 questions that you can find that you can do easily. Okay? So a company ships notepads in rectangular boxes that each have inside dimensions measuring 9 inches long, 9 inches wide, and 12 inches tall. So we got 9, 9, and 12. Okay. So each notepad is in the shape of a cube with an edge length of 3. So, okay, so divide by 3, divide by 3. Okay. So how many times we can get 3 times 4 there? So it's 3 times 4. So 3 times 3, okay, so you got 9 divided by 3, 9 divided by 3, and 12 divided by 3. So we got 3 times 3, and if you don't want to do the calculation in your head, 3 times 4, you're going to get 36. So your answer should on this one be E. 36. Okay, that was pretty easy. All right, now the next one, number 18, I see an f of x question. If you don't know how to do the f of x question, you need to do that worksheet. You need to say, Miss Martin, I need that f of x worksheet, and I need to do the tutorial right now, because f of x questions, you're going to see them on every test, and they're going to be an easy one. All you have to do is plug and chug into that one. Okay, so in this case, as soon as you see the f equals -4, we're going to stick that in for x. So we're going to go -4 times the x to the third, so -4 to the third, and then minus 4, -4 to the second. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to do PEMDAS here. Remember, PEMDAS. Okay, we're going to do parentheses. There's nothing else to do in the parentheses. Then we're going to do exponents. Okay, we're going to do exponents. So we're going to do 4 times 4, 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, but now it's a negative, right? So 3 negatives, it's going to be a positive and a negative is a positive, but then we got to times it by, so we got to go -4 times -4, which is 16, right? And that turns into a positive 16. But then we got to multiply it by a -4 again. So if you do, let's do the math. So it's a 16 times a -4. Oop, that didn't like that. So 16 times 4, let's get rid of that, clear. 16 times 4 is a 64, and we know it's going to be negative 64, okay? But that's times negative 4 there. So now we got to times it by, we got two negatives make a what? Positive. If you don't remember those rules, I'm going to pull out my blue reference sheet. Again, this is in the back of the room. You can just ask Miss Martin for a blue reference sheet. Let me see if I can find one here at home. Let me see if I can find it. I got one. I always have one. Okay, always have one handy. Go in the back of the room, grab it. Here are the rules. Grab this PERT reference sheet if you need it, okay? Learn these rules. Okay, this has all the equations. Your job is to get the letter on one side by itself. Then it talks about inequalities. And then which inequalities are not covered on the ACT, so don't worry about doing that. But adding and subtracting signs or multiplying and dividing signs. If you need a practice worksheet on this, please ask Miss Martin. I have one of those for you, okay? And if I don't have a tutorial, ask Miss Martin to put it on the list if I don't already have a tutorial for that. Okay, so we got negative 4 times negative 64. Let's just do the math. Times 4 is 256. Okay, so we got that side done. Now we got to do negative 4 times, you got negative 4 times negative 4, which you know is already 16. And then you got negative 4. So minus 4 times 16. So now let's do this again. 16 times 4 is negative 64. So 256 minus 64. So we got 256 minus 64 is 192. 192. Okay? And there's your f of x question. That answer is J for 18. Okay? All right, so the next question, which of the following xy pairs is the solution for the system of equations x plus 2y equals 4 and negative 2x plus y equals 7? Okay, so this is another plug and chug question, right? Remember what I said. What did Ms. Martin say about plug and chug questions? If I don't have time or if I'm running out of time, you can just pick AF and you're going to be right 3 out of 4 times. But let's run this through. When you see X and Y, that means the first one is going to be X and the second one is going to be Y in the parentheses. So all we're going to do is we're going to plug and chug it. If it works in the first one, we got to test the second one. That's a lot of work, but let's just do negative 2 and 3. Remember, 3 out of 4 times. I've already done one plug and chug question on the first 20 questions, and I got the first one right because I chose F or A, whatever one that was. Okay, so let's try this. X plus 2y equals 4. So let's do negative 2 plus 2 times 3 equals 4. That works because this is 6 minus 2 equals 4. Yes, that works. Then let's do negative 2x plus y equals 7. So let's do it again. Negative 2 times negative 2 plus 3 equals 7. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4 plus 3 equals 7. Woo! Done. All right, so both of them worked. They got the right answer. So guess what? My 3 out of 4, if it's a plug and chug question like this, if you are looking for a, let's see, if you see a formula for an answer, 14 was a plug and chug question, and so was which of the following XY pairs is the solution for the system of equations. That's a plug and chug. I would pick A or F, and that one as well, and I would be correct. Okay, so on this one, which of the following is a value of x that satisfies log 36 equals 2? And I believe this answer, I'm not sure on the log questions. Let's just skip that one. And what we're going to do is we're going to look to see if there's any, I haven't hit, the number 21 is a area question. So let's skip the log question because that's a little more complicated, and we're going to go straight to 21. And I'm only going to do 21. I'm going to do the 21 because I know it's an area. So a 5 by 7 inch, 5 by 7 is 35. Okay, and that's a photograph. Okay, and it's cut to fit exactly into a 4 by 6 frame. 4 by 6 is 24. Okay. What is the area in the square inches of the part of the photograph that is cut off? Right in there, right? What's 35 minus 24? Easy peasy. That's 11. Answer is C on that one. Okay, couldn't pass that one up. Okay, so now I'm not going to get complicated on you.